So you think you want to go to heaven, eh? You hope to spend eternity happily reunited with your loved ones, maybe floating around in the clouds and playing a harp, and generally doing whatever it is you want to do in blissful harmony. Something like that, right? Well, that's a popular concept of what heaven is like. But if you believe the Bible is true, then what really matters is what it actually says about where Christians will end up after death, right? Well, interestingly, there's nothing in the Bible that specifically says Christians will actually go to heaven. The closest statement is likely in Luke chapter 23, verse 43, where Jesus said, "Truly I say to you, today you shall be with me in paradise." Although that may have been a one-time thing, and it doesn't necessarily mean he was talking about heaven. Supposedly, the word Jesus used for paradise translates as park. Regardless, apparently the redeemed will become citizens of the city of New Jerusalem, which will descend from heaven to a new earth that lacks any oceans. I should point out that if the city descends from heaven, then it's not likely to be heaven. But since God will supposedly be hanging out there, a lot of Christians would say it might as well be heaven. Revelation chapter 21 describes New Jerusalem as basically a glowing 1,400-mile cube made of pure gold and decorated with gemstones, surrounded by a 200-foot-thick outer wall with 3 pearly gates in each wall. Its residents will have physical bodies and consume food and drink, and they will spend forever worshiping God and working as public administration authorities. For their efforts, some will be rewarded with crowns. St. Thomas Aquinas said that the saints may enjoy their beatitude and the grace of God more abundantly. They are permitted to see the punishment of the damned in hell. So perhaps one of the activities enjoyed in heaven will be watching people being tortured horrifically. Even if any of that sounds appealing to you, you may not be all that thrilled about what the afterlife has in store for your mind. If you believe you have free will now, despite Ephesians chapter 1 verse 11 indicating otherwise, will you retain your free will after death? According to the Bible, there is no evil in heaven. But does that mean those who go there will still have the ability to choose to sin? Many Christians believe that they will retain their free will, but that they will no longer want to sin. But if that option exists, then how is that any different from not having free will? And why didn't God create humanity exactly the same way in the first place, possessing free will but never wanting to sin, thus preventing thousands of years of horribly cruel and unnecessary suffering? On the other hand, if you lose your free will in heaven, then God is apparently fine with having robots worship him. So what was the point of ever giving us free will in the first place? Either option seriously calls into question God's morality or intelligence, and neither option allows for true free will. But that's not the worst of it. Isaiah chapter 65 verse 17 says, "For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered nor come to mind." That's right. You won't remember your life on earth. Your memories will be wiped clean. Some apologists point to verse 16 of the same chapter where it says, "For the past troubles will be forgotten and hidden from my eyes." And they claim it indicates that only your past troubles will be forgotten, not all of your memories. But that would cause a contradiction with verse 17. The only way both verses can be true is if all your memories are erased. It would mean that although your Christian loved ones will also be in heaven, you won't remember them. But it would also explain how you can remain blissfully happy even though you're watching your non-Christian loved ones burning in hell. So there you have it. According to the Bible, salvation means having your memories erased and any true free will stripped from you, assuming it ever existed in the first place, and then being sent to live in a giant metal cube where you'll worship your overlord master for all eternity. If that's heaven, then it doesn't sound all that much better than hell, does it? So, thanks, but I want no part of it. Fortunately, it doesn't look like even the vast majority of Christians will make it into heaven. After all, Jesus was very clear that wealthy people have very little chance of getting into heaven, and anyone watching this video is almost certainly exceedingly wealthy by the standards of biblical times. But if you make it there anyway, have fun. As they say, ignorance is bliss, so you should be ecstatic indeed.